Yo, what's good, guys? Today we got 10 lies you, or, well, probably not you, but maybe not me either, someone believes about Britain. So, without further ado, let's get it.
It's time to brush up on your British general knowledge. I'm Ashley with WatchMojo UK, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 lies you believe about Britain. Before we begin, we publish new content every
listen, WatchMojo, I don't give a shit.
You've always believed about this country.
I don't care. Get to the video.
Number 10, all swans are property of the Queen.
Wait, what?
We've all been brought up to believe that all swans belong to the Queen, and therefore harming them or eating them is a big no-no. However, one 5-year-old swan enthusiast wrote to the Queen asking if she could have one, and the response she got surprised us all. A representative wrote back debunking the common misconception that seems to date back to the 12th century. The monarch actually only owns all unmarked mute swans in open water around certain areas of the River Thames and Windsor.
Okay, what the fuck's a mute swan, first off? Second off, where does this come from? All swans are property of... Why? Well, the Queen's no longer with the... Okay, why does the King or the Queen or whoever, I'm guessing it transfers through, like, whoever's running shit, want all the swan... Why would they? What the fuck are they gonna do with a bunch of swans?
Every year, local children are invited to witness the swan-upping event, which helps keep track of the birds.
Oh, shit.
Number 9.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought that bird was about to attack those dudes. I thought they were about to get their whole life messed up, bro.
9. London is buried under fog. Fog everywhere. So begins Charles Dickens' Bleak House, and yet somehow the reputation has stuck even to this day. Due to the Industrial Revolution during the 19th century, Londoners did see an average of 63 foggy days per year, and in 1952, the Great Smog was said to have killed around 12,000 people.
Smoke from the capital's chimneys is being trapped at street level, which is aggravating the fog.
Nowadays, you'll actually find that London, or anywhere else in the UK really, doesn't even cut the top 10 foggiest countries around the world, with Grand Banks, Newfoundland, Canada taking the top spot.
Okay.
Once coal fires were banned, London saw less fog, and today it's not as common as you would think. Number 8, Ladygadiva rode naked on horseback. Ladygadiva wasn't just...
What? Okay, I'm sorry. I've never heard of any of these myths. Give me a lie I at least heard of, damn it. What kind of... I don't care what some lady did in 1955. That's not a... Is that really a myth about an entire country?
Just a made-up figure from a Tennyson poem or a delicious brand of chocolate. In Tennyson's versions of events, Ladygadiva rode naked on horseback through the streets of Coventry in response to her husband Leofric's oppressive tax. In reality, there are some sources that suggest that her lord husband requested she do just that, but there is insufficient proof that she followed through, with most historians insisting that it never happened. This story only started making the rounds around 100 years after her death, and by a monk whose storytelling didn't always adhere to the truth. Number 7, Great Britain, the UK, and England are synonyms.
For England, James? No. For me.
Getting this wrong is a surefire way to make enemies across the UK. Just try...
Nah, this one... I can't tell you how many times I've seen comments like, you used the wrong flag, or like something, and I'm like, man, I don't know. Like, I think I kind of get it now, but this is the first, like, lie that I can actually see as a legit lie.
Asking a Scot what part of England they're from. Go ahead, we dare ya. Great Britain is an island made up of England, Scotland, and Wales. Great Britain and Northern Ireland together make up the United Kingdom. Emphasis on the Northern, yes, that's another border you don't want to mix up. We'd also tell you about the Channel Islands, British Isles, Isle of Man, and so on, but we suggest you get your head around the basics first, and then we can talk. Number 6, you're never far from a rat in London. Another stereotype of England's capital is that you're never more than 6 feet away from a rat at any given time.
Nah, now see, this one I actually kind of believed, but, hey, I guess it's a lie. This one I believe though, I'm not gonna lie.
Now, London is approximately 1,572 kilometers squared, and
at all
there
those
are
damn
around
things.
10.5 million rats in the UK. You do the maths. It's possible that a former Minister of Agriculture invented this little rumour to promote hygiene in homes, which makes you wonder just how bad things must have been. According to Dr. Dave Cowan, the truth is that you're more likely to be around 50 meters away from a rat at any time. Sounds a lot less disgusting now, right?
Well, wait, how far away is 50 meters? Like, how far is a meter, though? Because I don't even know how far a meter is. But, you know, I'll tell you where that is probably 100% true. New York.
5.
Bet you
Richard
anything.
III was a bad guy. Chances are, if you grew up in the UK, you were taught about the villainous Richard III, who walked around with a limp and had a hunchback. History tells us that he was this terrible geezer who stole the throne from his brother, locked his nephews in a tower, and ultimately had them killed. But in reality, when his reign came to an end, the Tudor dynasty took the throne. And let's just say that historians decided to record things a little differently. Shakespeare may have played his part in this retelling of events too. There's taking creative license, and then there's completely rewriting history.
A horse! My kingdom for a horse!
Number 4, Big Ben is a clock.
Wait, it's not?
One of the most iconic
Bro, that's a clock, though. What do you mean?
features of the London skyline has been dubbed Big Ben by tourists and locals alike. But it wasn't always called that. In the Victorian era, it was called St. Stephen's Tower, and until recently, it was just named the Clock Tower. And you really can't go wrong with that. However, today its official name is the Elizabeth Tower, in celebration of the Queen's Diamond Jubilee in 2012. But as interesting as this is, it's all superfluous for the discussion at hand. That's because Big Ben is the nickname of the bell, not the tower that houses it.
That's a big-ass bell. Look at that big-ass thing.
Number
Golly, that's a big-ass bell. Look at that
the
thing.
tower that houses it.
Man, that thing's probably bigger than my house. God damn. That thing's giant. Bigger than my house is probably extreme. My house is probably bigger than the bell, but...
Number 3, the Great Fire of London ended the plague. When you learned about the Black Plague at school, it was almost always immediately followed by a lesson about the Great Fire of London, because it was said that this fire, that devastated London, actually brought an end to the plague, right? Well, no, not really. The fire only burned up about a quarter of urban London, with the worst areas affected by plague, Whitechapel, Clerkenwell, and Southwark getting through it with barely a singe. By the
Damn.
time the fire started, deaths from plague were already on the decline, but once the fire was over, it was still not extinct. Number 2, the royal family always lives in Buckingham Palace. Crowds swarm Buckingham Palace every year in the hope of seeing the changing of the guards, or better yet, a member of the royal family leaving the palace to run some royal errands. The only problem is, none of the royal family live full-time in Buckingham Palace. It's more like the Queen's office and a nice venue for special events.
Said it very heavy.
Yes.
People also mistakenly look out for the Union Jack to know if the Queen is in, but it's actually a different flag, the Royal Standard, that's flown at the royal residences, Buckingham Palace, Windsor Castle, or Sandringham House when she's present. Number 1, the Queen is all-powerful.
I'm not gonna lie, I used to think this one. I used to actually, I was fully convinced, the Queen was just running shit for the longest time. I thought the Queen owned the entire place, not just the Swans,
The job description of monarch has changed since the days of Henry VIII, but the Queen still does have a number of powers, and it's not all about travelling the world and waving politely. But in today's British Constitution, she has ministers who are entrusted with exercising her powers. The Queen can summon Parliament, sign bills into laws, appoint or remove ministers, appoint the Prime Minister, and declare war, just to name a few.
Oh, really? Please.
Boo.
A lot of these motions are ceremonial, but it's good to know that if we were ever on the verge of war, the Queen has the power to pull that plug. Do you agree with our picks? Check out these.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Half these lies I never even heard of. Like, I was like, my man didn't even mention that like every Brit doesn't eat tea and crumpets 24/7, right? Like, that's the kind of lies I expected to hear. Most of these lies I never even heard of. So, hey, either way, like the video, subscribe, ring the bell. You know how YouTube works. I'm out. Bye.
With